Okay, think about that phone in your pocket, or maybe the laptop you're using right now. Ever stop to really think about how it actually got to you?
Right, it's quite a journey. Not simple at all.
Definitely not. You've got components from, what, maybe a dozen different countries?
Easily, sometimes more.
Then it's assembled somewhere else entirely, shipped across oceans, tracked, cleared through customs, financed. It's this incredibly complex web.
And often that web is slow, really slow, and surprisingly expensive when you add it all up.
It's exactly. Hidden costs, frustrating delays, it can be a real headache. Now try scaling that picture up. Billions of products, raw materials, finished goods, moving across borders every single day. That huge complex system. That's the world of global supply chains. Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we are diving headfirst into something pretty fascinating, how blockchain technology and specifically the XRP Ledger looks set to fundamentally transform a massive part of that system of supply chain finance. Our mission here is to really unpack a pivotal moment. We're talking about a groundbreaking partnership between the XRP Ledger, you'll hear us call it XRPL, and Linklogis, a fintech powerhouse based in China. We're going to break down what this really means for the future of trade, for liquidity, for how money moves across borders, all based on the sources you've shared, the goal. To give you a shortcut, really, to understanding why this is such a big deal, hopefully with some of those aha moments along the way.
Okay, let's get into it. This feels like a significant validation, doesn't it? Blockchain stepping up in sector is huge and vital as supply chain finance. Two giants coming together, it feels monumental.
It absolutely does. And what's particularly interesting here, I think, beyond just the sheer scale, is that this isn't just theory anymore. This partnership is directly dismantling some of the most stubborn, long-standing bottlenecks in global trade finance. It's offering real-world solutions that, frankly, traditional systems have struggled with for decades.
Yeah.
It's a clear sign that blockchain is moving from, that's interesting technology to this is actually essential infrastructure.
Okay, so let's paint that picture a bit more clearly. For anyone actually working in global trade, traditional supply chain finance, well, it can feel less like a smooth operation and more like constantly wrestling with a jammed printer,
Yeah.
right?
That's a good analogy.
Yeah, think about it. A company in, say, Vietnam ships parts to a manufacturer in Germany. Invoices fly back and forth. Payments need processing across different banks, different currencies. Often layers of intermediaries get involved. The whole thing is just notorious for grinding delays, sometimes eye-watering costs, and honestly, a frustrating lack of transparency. You just don't know where things stand.
Right.
So businesses are constantly fighting to get paid on time, or even just to access the capital they need to keep things running. Their money, their working capital, is literally trapped in these slow, opaque systems.
It's like trying to navigate in thick fog when you desperately need clear visibility.
Exactly.
And if we just step back for a second, the fundamental reason why it's so complex often comes down to the sheer number of different parties involved in global trade. It's a complicated dance. You've got buyers, sellers, their banks, freight forwarders, insurers, customs, all needing to share information and, crucially, trust each other.
Trust is key.
Absolutely. And traditional systems, which are often siloed, they don't talk to each other well and rely on paper or, pretty outdated digital methods. They just weren't built for the real-time trust and speed that modern business demands. These inefficiencies, they can actually choke off liquidity. They can stifle economic growth, especially, and this is important, for small and medium-sized businesses, the SMEs.
Right, the smaller guys.
Yeah, they often lack the financial cushion to absorb these long payment cycles. They might wait months to get paid, and that directly hits their ability to innovate, to hire, to expand.
Okay, so that's the problem space. Now let's bring in the players in this story. First up, Linklogis. Now, you might not know the name offhand, but believe me, they are a major force in Asian finance.
Yeah, a powerhouse.
We're talking one of China's absolute leaders in supply chain fintech. And when I say leader, the numbers are just staggering. In 2024 alone, Linklogis processed something like RMB 20.7 billion. That translates to roughly 2.9 billion US dollars in cross-border assets. And that's across 27 different countries. So here's where it gets really interesting. A company with that kind of massive volume, that kind of reach, making such a deliberate strategic move onto blockchain.
It's not a small pilot project.
Not at all. It's a huge statement about where they see the future going.
And their chosen technology for this leap, the XRP Ledger, XRPL, which naturally leads to the question, why XRPL? Out of all the blockchain options available, why did a company of Linklogis' stature pick this one?
Good question.
Well, it really speaks to XRPL's reputation, its established benchmark status, if you will. It's a public, decentralized blockchain, but it was really built from the ground up for enterprise-level use cases, especially asset tokenization. It's known for being incredibly fast transactions, confirm in seconds, very low cost, and just solidly reliable.
Rock solid.
Yeah, which makes it ideal for the kind of high-volume, almost instant settlements that global supply chain finance desperately needs. Unlike maybe some other platforms, it delivers that performance without the huge energy consumption or the prohibitive costs or the delays that would just make it impractical for a company handling billions.
Okay, so that's the why. Now, what does this partnership actually do? What does it look like on the ground? This is where it gets really practical. Linklogis isn't just experimenting here. They are fully integrating their huge supply chain finance platform directly onto the XRPL mainnet.
And that's key, the mainnet.
Exactly. For anyone not deep in the tech talk, that means the live public network. It's handling real transactions, real money right now.
Not a test environment.
No. And the core mechanism, the sort of magic that makes this work, is what's called tokenization of trade assets.
Right.
So try to picture this. A company ships goods, they create an invoice. That invoice is basically a promise that someone will pay them later. A receivable, right, a receivable. In the old world, that piece of paper, or maybe a PDF file, could just sit there for weeks, maybe months, waiting to be checked, approved, processed, eventually paid. It's locked up value.
Stuck in the system.
But with tokenization, that promise to pay, that invoice, gets transformed into a digital asset, a token, right there on the blockchain. You could almost imagine it like turning a physical IOU, which represents value, into a secure digital token that carries the same value, but...
Or it can be verified instantly.
Yes, and moved or even traded almost instantly anywhere in the world with the kind of transparency and speed we expect from the internet.
So that digital token represents the value, the information of the original invoice, but now it has all the benefits of blockchain security, speed, efficiency.
Precisely. And the payoff for businesses.
Yeah.
It's immediate and, frankly, pretty profound.
Game-changing, really.
Yeah. It effectively unlocks all that liquidity that was previously just trapped,
Yeah.
sitting idle in the system for weeks or months.
Businesses get paid faster, settlements across borders become much more efficient.
And the transparency factor, everyone involved who's supposed to see it, can see the status in real time.
Yeah.
That drastically cuts down on the delays, the back and forth, the disputes that plague trade finance.
Exactly. And what's really insightful here, I think, is how this integration effectively bridges that gap between traditional finance, like the invoice itself, and the efficiency of decentralization. It creates a much more dynamic ecosystem. Capital isn't just static anymore, waiting for slow, manual processes.
Right.
It becomes this dynamic digital asset that's instantly accessible, verifiable, deployable. It's a shift from a slow waiting game to a much more fluid, active way of managing working capital.
And let's move beyond just the concept of efficiency. Let's talk hard cash, the direct financial benefits for these companies.
Okay.
We're talking about getting access to their working capital much, much faster. That means greater liquidity to run their business, to invest, to grow. And the transactions themselves, they happen at a tiny fraction of what traditional cross-border settlements cost.
Huge cost savings potential there.
Definitely. Our sources really emphasize that this partnership is seen as a massive vote of confidence in XRPL's reliability, its ability to scale, and its suitability for these complex, real-world business needs. So boil it down. What does this mean for all those businesses using Linklogis? It means real money saved on fees, real speed gained in getting paid. That directly impacts their bottom line, their competitiveness.
It's a fundamental shift in cash flow management. It can genuinely empower growth, especially for those SMEs we mentioned earlier.
Right.
And looking ahead, this partnership isn't just stopping at tokenizing invoices. That's just the start. Linklogis and XRPL are actively looking at further innovations together.
Oh, interesting. Like what?
Well, things like stablecoin development. So creating digital currencies, probably pegged to traditional ones like yuan or maybe the dollar, to make cross-border payments even more predictable, less volatile.
Okay, that makes sense.
They're also expanding smart contract platforms. These are like self-executing contracts, where the rules of the agreement are coded directly onto the blockchain. Think automated payments when goods are confirmed delivered, that sort of thing.
Automating the agreements.
Exactly. And they're even exploring integrating AI, artificial intelligence, with the blockchain to make the whole supply chain finance process smarter, more predictive, maybe identifying risks earlier.
Wow, okay. AI plus blockchain.
Yeah. The big picture goal here seems to be digitizing even more real-world assets RWAs. We talked about invoices, but think bigger. Maybe property titles, commodities, even intellectual property someday.
Turning more physical stuff digital.
Right. And building this much smarter, truly efficient financial ecosystem specifically for global trade. These aren't just small tweaks. They're aiming to build the digital rails for the next generation of finance, where physical and digital assets merge seamlessly.
And it's important to remember, this huge Linklogis deal isn't happening in a vacuum, right? It fits into a wider pattern we're seeing with XRPL globally.
Absolutely. It's part of a much bigger trend.
We've seen this recent surge in XRPL's volume of tokenized RWAs, those real-world assets like invoices or, as you mentioned, potentially real estate. The value has climbed past, what, $305 million, making XRPL the 9th largest blockchain for RWA value. It's rapidly becoming a major player in this whole tokenization space.
It really is, and that underscores the versatility of the platform. It's not just one niche. For instance, remember earlier this year, the Dubai Land Department, they made waves by choosing XRPL for their real estate tokenization program.
Right, completely different asset class.
Exactly. Shows its robustness beyond just trade finance.
Right.
And then there's Latin America. We're seeing growing adoption in countries like Mexico, Brazil, Argentina. They're using XRPL for cheaper real-time cross-border payments. And interestingly, this is helping them reduce their reliance on, say, the US dollar for settling trades. It offers a more efficient, potentially more localized alternative.
So different regions, different assets.
Yeah, these diverse examples really highlight XRPL's capability. It can handle digitized invoices in China, land titles in Dubai, cross-border payments in Latin America, all on the same reliable, high-performance platform.
So pulling it all together then, this Linklogis partnership really puts XRPL right at the heart of China's push to modernize its trade finance infrastructure. It's huge.
It's strategically massive, yes.
With this kind of institutional adoption speeding up and these new integrations constantly being developed, it really feels like the XRP Ledger is positioning itself as maybe the go-to blockchain for powering the future of global commerce.
It's certainly making a strong case.
It's moving out of the niche experimental phase and becoming, foundational plumbing for some really significant financial flows around the world. So we've unpacked how this major Chinese fintech player, Linklogis, is using XRPL to fundamentally shake up its massive $2.9 billion supply chain operation. This isn't just theory or a white paper idea. It's happening now. It's actively changing how money and goods move across borders today. It provides this really clear, undeniable example of how blockchain tech, specifically XRPL, is graduating from niche uses to powering really significant real-world trade flows and upgrading critical global financial infrastructure.
And if we just zoom out one last time, think about the bigger picture this paints. What does this accelerating institutional buy-in really mean for how all global transactions might work in the future? Not just trade finance, but maybe buying property, managing assets, everything.
Yeah, the ripple effects.
How could this fundamental shift in the underlying financial plumbing impact the speed, the cost, maybe even the power dynamics of international commerce? For you, the listener, the consumer, and for the entire global economy, it really makes you think about a potential future where financial friction is just drastically lower, where value moves almost instantly.
That is definitely something profound to mull over, especially next time you think about the journey your latest purchase took to reach you. What other industries, what other parts of our daily lives could be next to tokenize their assets and use this kind of infrastructure? Where else could we see this drive towards a truly seamless, efficient future?
The possibilities seem pretty vast right now.
They certainly do.